chapter number 6, and that is all about the consumer decision making. So consumer decision making is basically the part of consumer behavior. And in third semester, there will be a paper that is known as a consumer behavior. So this decision making is a part of consumer behavior, and consumer behavior is like it's all about the study, like its name, consumer behavior. So it's all about the study of behavior of consumers, how the consumers behave under different situations. So in consumer behavior is basically like when you go through this particular paper in third semester, the marketing student will get this paper, consumer behavior, and in that paper you will only discuss about this consumer decision making. Consumer decision making is basically a five-stage process, five-step process, and uh, in overall this consumer behavior paper, we will only discuss this five stages. So in this chapter only, I will give you some brief idea about the consumer behavior. Later on, when when the full subject or when full paper will be there, then we will discuss all the steps and other things in detail. So, what is the meaning of consumer behavior? So, researcher in the past, researchers, the different psychologists have basically there were so many controversies you can say, or there were so many conflicts among the researchers regarding the definition of consumer behavior. Like there is two terms, consumer and behavior. So psychologists think that this consumer behavior is more or less related to the psychology part, but marketing, the social science will say like if there is a one more term that is a consumer, so this consumer term is more or less related to the marketing. So that's why there was a conflict whether we should consider this consumer behavior as a part of psychology or whether we will consider this consumer behavior as a part of marketing. So there were so many conflicts, and finally, the consumer behavior is considered as a part of marketing, but still few portions. Like in consumer behavior, you will discuss about the perception, motivation. So this is more or less related to the psychology. Like there will be some psychological part also in consumer behavior, but you can say 70% of this particular paper is related to marketing, and the rest 30% will include the psychology and other subjects. So if we go by the definition of the consumer behavior, so consumer behavior is something about obtaining, something about the consuming, and something about the disposing of the products and the services. That is OCD. If somebody asks you what you understand by consumer behavior, you will say it's all about the obtaining of goods and services, it's all about the consuming of or consumption of goods and services, and it's all about the disposing of goods and services. Now, what is the meaning of this OCD, that is obtaining, consuming, and disposing? So, obtaining is like how does the consumer purchase the product? Whether they are purchasing it from the local retail store or whether they are purchasing it from the multi specialty stores. Whether the consumer is purchasing it from online or in offline mode, or what is the mode of payment, whether the consumer is paying physically or whether like consumer is using this credit card or debit card, or whether the consumer is using the net banking and whatever, Google Pay, Paytm, whatever. So obtaining is all about like if consumer is purchasing a packet of toothpaste or a mobile phone, how the consumer choose the product, which store से कहाँ से ले रहा है, at what timing, how frequently. It's also how frequently the consumer purchase that particular product. So that would come under this obtaining. Second, that comes the consumption. How does the consumer consumes the product? Like consumption in the sense like how frequently the consumer consumes the product or how frequently the consumer purchase that particular product. And so this, or whether the consumer is in one go, consumer is consuming the full package or full product, or consumer will take or will consumer will consume that particular packet or whatever in one go, or it will take 2 3 days, or consumer consumes it immediately or consumer consumes it after 1 month or after 15 days. Suppose you purchase a packet of chocolate, so whether you consume it in the same day or you consume it in 1 week, or whether you consume it with your friends or your family members, or आप पूरा पैकेट लिया और अकेले खा गए. So that is all about the consuming, that is obtaining, consuming, and the last that comes is the disposing. So how does the consumer dispose the product? after using the product, whether the consumer, suppose there is some refill pack wala packet. So when at the time when it's a time to purchase the refill pack, so whether the consumer is purchasing that refill pack or consumer is purchasing the full packet, like Dettol का refill pack आता है. So whether at the time of purchasing, whether आप पूरा hand wash and वो refill pack पूरा ले रहे हो, or you simply purchase that particular product. Also, whether you are disposing, like after consuming full product, you are disposing या आधा खाया और आधा फेंक दिया. So it's also about the disposing. So that would come in the disposing. Consumer behavior is all about obtaining, consuming and disposing of your product. तो और ऑल्सो सपोज अगर आप ऑटोमोबाइल की बात करो या फिर मोबाइल कंज्यूमर ड्यूरेबल की बात करो, मोबाइल फोन. सो आपका मोबाइल फोन, सपोज यू परचेज सम न्यू मोबाइल फोन, so what do you do with your old mobile phone? Whether आप उसको ऐसे just डस्टबिन में थ्रो करते हो, और whether you sold out that particular mobile phone or you replace it online. There are so many offers, so in the online mode you are just disposing it, or after how many years you are changing your mobile phone. So that would come in the disposing. So obtaining, consuming and the disposing defines the consumer behavior. So if somebody asks you what do you understand by consumer behavior, you will say it's all about the OCD, that is obtaining. How does the consumer obtains the product, how does the consumer consumes the product, and how does the consumer dispose the product. Should I log the meeting, class? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Log the meeting, ma'am.
Yes. Please have a look. Is there any outsider? Okay. Rishikesh, please. Okay. I have already logged it. Yes. Yeah. So importance of understanding the consumer behavior. So basically, consumer behavior is how the consumers make purchase decision and how the consumer use and dispose the product. We have already discussed how the consumer make purchase. It's all about the obtaining. How does the consumer obtain the product? It's all about the mode of payment. It's all about whether it's online or offline, how frequently the consumer purchase the product. So that would come in how consumers make purchase or the obtaining. Now how consumers use will be related to this consumption, or how does the consumer consumes the product and dispose the product. So this is basically consumer behavior definition, is how the consumer obtain, consume and dispose the products. Okay. So if we talk about the consumer, so consumer behavior definition is clear. Now the second part that would come in this consumer behavior is the decision making process. Like there are 5 steps involved in the decision making, like at the time of purchasing a packet of toothpaste, a needle or a car or a plane, whatever. Every product will have a 5 stages in the decision making process. A 5 stage, so consumer decision making process is a 5-step process that is used by the consumers when buying goods and the services. What are those five stages? So that is the need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase and the post-purchase behavior. So first that comes, so these are the 5 different stages: need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase and the post-purchase behavior. Now what is the meaning of this need recognition? Need recognition is basically result of an imbalance between the actual state and the desired state. Means consumer behavior, like need recognition will come. Suppose like you own some product and you don't own some product. So this is your actual state. You want to purchase, let's say if suppose you are hungry, or suppose you want to purchase a chips packet. So this is your actual state. You want to have that packet, and what will be your preferred state or desired state when you will have that packet? Actual state, you don't own that particular product, but desired state, you will have that product. So if there is an imbalance, then that is known as the need recognition. If there is no imbalance, then consumer will not recognize their need. But if there is an imbalance will occur if you don't have any product and you want to have that product. So that will be your actual state. Desired state, when you own that particular product. Suppose you want to purchase a wooden shoes. So that is your actual state. You don't have the woodland shoot, but still you want to have that particular product. So actual state is not having the woodland shoot. What would be your desired state or preferred state? You will own that particular product. So if there is a difference between the actual and the desired state, then you will say there is a need recognition. Suppose in the morning you get up and you found that there is no toothpaste in your washroom. So actual state, you want to have some toothpaste, or you want to have the Colgate or the Pepsodent. What will happen? That is your actual state. What will be your desired state? Your desired state actually you don't have, and desired you will have. So obviously there is a difference. आपका यहाँ पे है कि नहीं है, but still you want to have that. So there is a difference. So you will say कि need will recognize, and you will go to the market and you will purchase the product. So present state. So you can see that there is a difference between the present status and the preferred state. So marketing helps the consumer to recognize an imbalance between the present state and the preferred state. Here also you can see there are the two different factors that act as an stimuli. So that creates a tension. Stimuli is basically, you can say, stimulus. Stimulus is basically something that creates a tension in the consumer's mind. You don't have, you want to have, या जिसको देख के आपको लगे कि something strikes to your mind. So that is known as internal stimuli and external stimuli. So stimuli are basically categorized. If we talk about this internal stimuli, so internal stimuli will include the psychology of the consumer, or you can say it's all about the motivation of the consumer to purchase any product, the perception of the consumer to purchase any product, the learning of the consumer to purchase any product, the personality of the consumer will decide whether the consumer should purchase that particular product or not. So these are the internal stimuli that is more or less related to the consumer memory, or you can say that is more or less related to the consumer personality. Second that comes is the external stimuli.
Ask Vivek to mute his mic.
Everyone please mute your mic. And second that comes is the external stimuli. External stimuli that is not related to the consumer internally, like that is not related to the psychology of the consumer, or that is not related to the memory of the consumer. So that external stimuli will include, let's say, the demographic profile of the consumer. It will also include the economic factors. It will also include the different situational factor. It will also include the cultural factor. It will include the social factors. So these are this external stimuli will also include the 4 P's, the different promotion or different advertisement that the consumer go through. Then that will also act as an stimuli, or that will also create the tension or a pressure in the consumer's mind. So the need recognition, if we talk about the need recognition, so if there is an imbalance, or if there is a difference between the the present state or the actual state and the preferred state, that is a desired state, then you will say the need is recognized. And there is also, in actual state, the consumers have the two different forces that is categorized as internal stimuli and the external stimuli. This will create a tension in the consumer's actual state of mind, and because of which the consumer will want to gain or will want to have this preferred state or desired state. Internal is motivation, perception, learning, personality, and this external stimuli will include demographic, economic, situation, cultural, social, all these things will come in external stimuli. We will discuss, not in very detail, but in 1 or 2 lines, we will discuss what are these things. But when you study that consumer behavior paper, so in that paper, all these things will be covered in detail. So stimuli or stimulus is any unit of input affecting one or more of the 5 senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. Now, recognition of unfulfilled want. When a current product is not performing properly. So this is the recognition. When your product is not performing properly, or suppose like there is a classes in online mode, and suppose your mobile phone is not working properly, or suppose your laptop is not working properly. So definitely there will be the need recognition. Means you don't have a good quality laptop or mobile phone, and you want to have a good quality laptop or mobile phone. So this is your actual state. You don't have, and in preferred state or in desired state, you want to have a good quality laptop or mobile phone. So there is an imbalance or there is a difference. So that is the recognition of unfulfilled want, or that would come under this category when a current product is not working properly, performing properly. Second, when the consumer is running out of a product. When the consumer is running out of a product, that is a depletion of stock. Let's say I've given the example of that toothpaste. So that is when there is no product or your stock is get depleted. So in that case, the consumer will, then there will be the recognition of unfulfilled want. Third is when another product seems superior to the one currently used. Obviously, if you found, suppose you have the Bata shoes, but still you want to have that woodland shoes. You find that like woodland shoes are more stylish and it looks very formal if I wear this woodland shoes. Then what will happen? That is when another product seems superior. Your Bata shoes is in the working condition, but still you want to have that woodland shoe because you like that product. So when another product seems superior to the one currently used, so in that case, the recognition of unfulfilled wants will come. Okay, so the points are clear. What you understand by the consumer behavior and what is the need recognition? Is it clear or not, class?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The second step, so after recognizing the need, the second step that comes is the information search. In information search, like if you want to purchase a mobile phone, if you want to purchase a house, if you want to purchase a golden or this diamond jewelry, or if you want to purchase a car, whatever. So every time the consumer will go for the information search. So that is not so. Information search is basically categorized, or you can say there are the two different types of information search, that is internal information search and the external information search. Every consumer firstly go through the internal information search, and later if the consumer didn't get any enough information from the internal information search, then the consumer will go for the external information search. But if the consumer is satisfied with its internal information search, or consumer is able to take any decision based on its internal memory or based on the internal information search, then there is no requirement of the external information search. But if you are not able to take any decision that is based on your internal information search, then at that time the consumer will go for this external search. This internal information is search is recall information in memory, or that is basically the retrieval of information from your memory. Like in past something will happen, or in past you have already used that product, or your experience is very good, you have already used the services of that any particular restaurant or hotel or whatever. So that at the time or second time, before using the service of that restaurant, or before at the time of purchasing any automobile, you have last time you have purchased your automobile from the same motors or from the same shop. Next time when you will purchase, so you will just think, yes, the service provided by this particular shop is very good, so I can use that particular, or the restaurant service or the food quality was very good, so next time you will visit. So that would be retrieval from the memory. Or in past, if you have the exposure of that particular product, or you have the exposure of that particular restaurant or service, then that would come under the internal. If your past experience will not good, then definitely you will not go to that particular shop, or you will not use the service of that particular to be a company or whatever. So that is known as the internal information search. Second, that would come seek information in outside environment. If you are not able to get, or if you are not getting enough information from your memory, so in that case you will go for an external information search, and that information search will be either non-marketing control, or it can be the marketing control. Non-marketing control is basically when you get some information from your family, when you get some information from your friends, peers, whatever, or relatives, that would come in non-marketing control. Marketing control, when you get some information by looking at the website, by looking at the different advertisement that the company is providing, then that is known as a marketing controlled information search. Now, the external information search is basically like sometimes the consumer need very less information, and sometimes the consumer needs very more information. So it's totally depend on the type of product you are purchasing. Suppose you are using very less involvement product and a very high involvement. Involvement is basically in terms of efforts you are putting, the time you are giving in purchasing that particular product. So high involvement product is basically if you want to purchase a house, if you want to purchase a land, if you want to purchase a let's say car, if you want to purchase a laptop, that is high involvement product. So it requires more effort from the consumers and the more time. But if you want to purchase, let's say, a candy or chocolate or a chips, whatever, so it generally basically requires very less information. So when the consumer requires less information, when the product that you are going to purchase is less risky, second, you have more knowledge about the product, or you have already experienced that product, you have a very low level of interest, and you have a confidence in your decision. So basically, if I tell you this need less information is low price product or low involvement product. Second, that needs more information. What type of product? The product that would be more risky for purchasing, less knowledge, or very high price product, you can also say. So you have a very less knowledge about the product, then you will definitely go for the information search. Suppose you want to purchase a laptop and you don't have much information, so you definitely will do the comparison, whether should I go for HP or the Lenovo or the Dell. So and the less product experience, then at that time the consumer will need more information. You have a high level of interest, obviously high involvement. If you are giving money, then definitely your interest level will be high. And lack of confidence, because it's all about the money. If you are putting some money, if you are putting some higher amount, then definitely it will need more information. And what type of product will need more information? Which is more risky, and consumers have very less knowledge. Consumer will have a very less product experience, will have a high level of interest and a lack of confidence. Then this is the clear cut distinction between the less information needed product and the more information needed product. So yeah, we have already discussed, like in information search, in internal search, there is a search of long-term memory to determine if a satisfactory solution is known. External search is if a resolution is not reached through internal search, then the search process is focused on the relevant external information. If you are not able to get any solution from your internal search, then they definitely will go for this external search. Okay. The next that would come is the information search in the consumer decisions. Now, what the consumers will do at the time of searching some information, what you will do? Suppose you want to purchase some, or suppose that suppose you want to purchase or at the time of taking admission in the admission for your BBM or the BCom program, you might have gone through different information search. So before information search, you might have made some evaluative criteria. Evaluative criteria in the sense you have developed sets in evaluative criteria. Suppose you at the time of selection of colleges, you must have made some criteria like what is the quality of education, then the alumni of that particular institution, then it also include the extracurricular activity, the facility, hostel facility, bus facility, and everything. So these are the different criteria. So what every consumers will do, what evaluative criteria are needed. So these are the evaluative criteria, and you made this criteria, and these are the different university A, university B, university C, university D. Now what solutions exist? Now what you will do the rating, like in terms of quality of education, you will give 4 to this university A or college A, you will give 3 to college B, you will do some rating, like 1 is very less or very dissatisfactory and the 5 is very satisfactory. So these are you will do the rating. Basically, firstly you will make the evaluative criteria and then you will do the rating. So what are the evaluative criteria are needed? These are the evaluative criteria. What solutions exist? Because you have given, based on your information search, you have given the different ratings to different universities or different colleges in different criteria. Then what is the performance of each solution on each evaluative criteria? So these are the ratings that you have given. Can a decision be made whether based on this particular table, can you make your decision? Like suppose these are the four different universities you are comparing, and by using the 5 different evaluative criteria. So suppose by using this you found that university A is good in 3 different evaluative criteria, B is good in 1, and C is good in 1, and D is 0. So can a decision be made? If you can make the decision, then information search process terminates. Means then you can definitely make your decision. But if the consumer is not able to make a decision, then at that time the information search process will continue. So is it clear or not, class? If you have any doubt, you can just ask in this particular diagram or in previous case also. So before making or before doing the information search, what you are supposed to do, you will do, or you will, sorry, class, please mute your audio. Someone's mobile is vibrating continuously. So do you have any problem, class?
No, ma'am.
Understood.
Okay. So before making any decision or at the time of information search, every consumer makes some evaluation.
तुमको सुनाई नहीं दे रहा था? मैं तो सब वाइब्रेट में रखा हुआ हूँ। और किसका होगा भाई देख?
Hello, Vivek.
Sir.
Hello, Rishikesh.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the problem?
Ma'am, I don't know. Okay, ma'am. He unmuted himself. Sorry, muted himself.
Okay. So firstly, at the time of information search, you will make some evaluative criteria and you will go for the solutions. You will see which one is good, which brand is good basically. And whether you are happy with your decision, can you make a decision based on these evaluative criteria and based on the solutions you get? If yes, then information search process terminates. If no, then information search process will continue. Okay. So cover this next class. Okay, I'll cover this topic in the coming week. Anyways, so this is all about the consumer decision making process, and we have already discussed the 2 different steps, that is the need recognition and the information search. Okay, need recognition is the difference between the actual state and the preferred state. If there is a difference, then we will say that need has been recognized by the consumer. Information search is further classified as internal search and external search. If consumer is not able to take any decision that is based on the internal search, then consumer will go for the external search. The third step that we will discuss next week is all about the evaluation of alternatives.